First motto.
So, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Western India Regional Council, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all on the series of Women on Wednesday, which is started last year with the intention to promote women faculty. So, before formally start the session, I request everyone to put your hand on your heart for the ICI motto.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Thank you. So, friends, I recognize the presence of Chairman WRC CA Murtaza Kachwala, our keynote speaker CA Sandhya Sriram, next speaker Parinita Agarwal, CA Pinky Kedia, Regional Council member, also Vice Chairperson of Women Empowerment Committee, and Ruta Chitle, Regional Council member. So without any formality, I directly will request to our Chairman WRC to address to our participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shweta. Good afternoon to all the participants. I welcome all of you to this program, today's session on Women on Wednesday. Let me first thank CA Sandhya Sriram Madam and CA Parinita for accepting our invitation and joining us here to share their valuable knowledge with all the participants. Let me also thank Shweta Jain, Chairperson of Women's Empowerment Committee this year, Vice Chairperson of the Women's Empowerment Committee, Pinky Kedia, and Regional Council Member Ruta Chitle for taking all the initiative, action, and ensuring that on WOW we get different unique topics and excellent faculty. So really grateful to all of you for all the efforts that you take. The theme this year at WIRC is lead so like towards excellence, achievement, and development. But when we come to today's topic, I think the whole image and brand, and really a few words which come to our mind. And one is, the first one which I would say is trust. Then of course, independence, objectivity, integrity. These are type of words which come to mind. And see, like the basic foundation is the standard on auditing essays. And I think the whole image, the whole brand can be built by following all of these. One, we have to be objective in whatever we do. We have to be independent, and while we accept the assignment, that time only if there is an independence issue or if we like there is some other issue, we should come up front and talk about it. But the most important thing is, like, when we accept an assignment, are we technically equipped to do that work? Do we spend enough time on our people, we train them? Because ultimately it is that depth of knowledge, the proper coverage, the quality of work which we deliver will send out the message to the outside world in terms of what we deliver. And I think, like, see, you can meet a person first time and you get to know or exchange cards. Then you keep in touch with that person on a regular basis by sending him a broadcast message, a Diwali wish, or a holy wish, and you can even send them a good reading material through a broadcast mail. But then ultimately, when the person gives you the first opportunity to come and deliver some work, and that time, if you show your capability, put all the right efforts, do the right type of work, and give it at the right time. See, delaying also, not doing work on time, talking, keeping on giving them false assurances. I think all of those does not go in creating a good brand or good image about ourselves or about a firm. But if we do all of these right, I think that will create a good brand and image, and that is where the trust factor comes in. And in your first one or two assignments, if you win the trust of the client, and if you come out as a consultant to them, more than seeing like how much fees I'll get, if you really add value to them, understand their business, and give them something which will make their life efficient and effective, I'm sure that person will start building trust, and he will start giving you more and more and more and more, and money will follow, and you will have enough work. You will get tired and you will not be able to deliver that type of work. So I'm saying all of those. Of course, today both the speakers are going to talk about how we dress, how we speak, and there are so many other aspects as well. So let me not cover all of those as well, but excellent. And I think a very, very important aspect, we should spend a lot of time on the overall image building, the brand building, and deliver to the best of our ability, because these two alphabets, the CA, brings a lot of responsibility on us. And happy learning to all of you. Over to you again, Shweta. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Sir, for your word of wisdom, I can say. So, friends, when we talk about image or brand building, so a lot of questions comes to our mind. So that what is brand actually? Is my CA degree or my qualification is my brand? Or do I need to put extra efforts to build my own image? So what are the factors that influence a brand identity and so on? So to talk on these thoughts, today we have with us a very prominent person, CA Sandhya Sriram with us. So she is a group CFO in Narayana Health since December 2021. Prior to joining Narayana, she has close to 20 years of experience in Unilever and Wipro Group, where she was performing a broad spectrum of roles such as business partnering, audit and risk, digital transformation, controllership, financial planning and analysis, shared services, technology design and implementation, supply chain, finance and project management. So apart from this professional achievement, she was placed in India's top 100 women in finance by Association of International Wealth Management of India. She has been also awarded that CA CFO, CA Professional Achiever thrice by our own Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. She was also placed in the top 50 young leaders in India by Economic Times in 2011. And at ICI, she had secured an All India rank in foundation, inter and final examination. So, I mean, this is in really a brief. Also, she is a regular speaker at our national international conferences of ICI and CFO forum on various topics. So I welcome you, Sandhya, madam, at this platform of WIRC. And without taking much, I, I would request you to please guide us on these thoughts. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for that kind introduction and this opportunity. What I will try to do over the next 20 minutes or so is talk about some of the themes around personal branding, etc., and try to answer some of the questions you've shared with me, offline. And then if there is anything from the audience, we will try to pick after. So when we talk about the concept of branding, many times, I think because of the way advertisement companies promise, like, you'll become fair in 10 days, or, this will turn you from 100 kilos to 50 kilos weight, So we, in somewhere in our mind, we feel that branding is about, talking about what you are not, So branding is not about, telling the world who you are not, but telling the world who you are. That is personal branding. I want to take one example here. Say, if you go to I work with Narayana, if you go to the LinkedIn page of Narayana, Vidyalaya, you see most of their, they will always talk about awareness. They will say you drink water, you'll be healthy, maybe you should eat healthy food, you should, if you're having these symptoms, diagnose. Actually, what they're doing is while they are creating awareness, they're creating awareness about their brand. That is what branding is all about. How do you make people know about what you stand for? That is the concept. So how do I create my brand? And I think the chairman started very nicely to say what, how do you build your brand? And I want to share some pointers. So if you ask me, my brand, I want to take my own example and what are the layers in which I see my brand as. The first layer is my chartered accountancy. It gives me a certain degree of stature, acknowledgement. It gives me a seat at the table. It gives a certain level of recognition that, she will have the requisite knowledge and skills to do the job. So that's my first layer of my brand. The second layer, if I would say, is around my experiences. Over a period of time in my career, I've picked up various experiences, say business partnering, controllership, shared services. So somewhere that creates the second layer of my brand. The third layer of my brand is what is unique about my experiences. For example, when I talk about some of my experiences, I always talk about having done something with IT digital transformation. Doing a risk and compliance role is something unique because all finance profiles, either they are going to audit or they go into business partnering, they don't straddle. So it's something unique. So what is little unique about my profile, which you want to look at? Then the fourth layer of my brand is who am I? What defines me? So if you ask me personally, what defines me, I'm very passionate. I try to give my 200% to everything I do. I want to make a difference. So that's like who am I? That's the fourth layer of my brand. And the last layer of my brand is what do I want to become? What am I aspiring for? So for me, for a long time, becoming a group CFO was really where I wanted to reach. It was always there in my mind. At some point, I have to become a group CFO. Now, from there, finally, after 20 years, I'm now resetting the bar to say, next, what should I, what is my next ambition? Of course, it's very private to me. But then, so all of this comes together for me to form what is the brand that I want to become. And therefore, every time I'm interacting with people, I try to bring that brand alive. So you would have seen that my introduction, which I've shared with you, this is the introduction I share with everybody, reflects all these 5 aspects. I always try to bring the perspective of me, what is unique about me, what do I want to achieve. If you see the last line of my introduction is that I'm passionate, I'm a passionate person. And I also talk about being a mother of a, 15-year-old. So that is, that's part of my identity. And I always talk of my brand as a passionate professional and a caring mother. That's my brand. So all of us will have to have our own identification. First, make that identity in our head. What is that brand? What am I? Then we start living that identity for ourselves. Forget everybody else. Forget the world. Forget telling anybody who you are. First, you should know what your brand is and start living that brand. Once you start living that brand, then you bring that identity of yours in all the interactions you do, whether it is personal interactions, whether it is social media interactions, whether it is any form of communication. In every part of you, you have to express that brand. Now, what do you mean by express that brand? It's a very ad hoc, orbit concept. What do you mean by that? So for example, let's say you're a practicing CA and you want to say specialize in something like, say, investment advisory. Now that becomes your niche. Then how do you stand out? So it is not just that I'm also an investment advisor. There are thousands of people there. The next part you will have to build for yourself is what do I stand for? Let's say your investment advisory, you stand for more risk-free outcomes, or you stand for more growth outcomes, but maybe little risk taking. What is it? What is it that you stand for? That has to come with who you are. Are you a realist? Are you an optimist? Are you a pessimist? Who are you as a person? Because you can't be something in your brand which you are not as a person. If you are a very aggressive, bullish person, investor, personally, then your brand as an investment advisor if you extend yourself into that brand, you will be able to express yourself better. Then from there, what do you want to become? What is your goal as an investment advisor? What do you want to reach? What should your clientele look like? What should your people look up to you for? How will you differentiate? When you get this picture in your mind clear and you start living that, then you start expressing that. So for example, say you could do social media posts about, what are the benefits of, say, long-term investing. You could do public speaking about long-term investing. Every time you come across a client, after you complete the conversation, you leave a tip. They don't need to call you for the investment advice. You just leave a tip saying, have you looked at this? This may be useful for you. Slowly, over a period of time, the brand builds. They will know you as the person who is a realist, who can give good investment advice, who is very passionate about what she does, or who's very realistic about what she does, or who's very connected with the market. Whatever image you want to leave, whatever you are, your authentic true self, you keep expressing it. The most important thing you're trying to do here is why brand building is important. Like one of the questions which was asked was, one, you're creating a recall for yourself as a person. When someone thinks about Shweta, what do they think of Shweta about? What do they think about Shweta? Second, you're creating a platform for engagement. How do you engage? And above all, brand building, creating your own brand, builds self-esteem. You feel proud about what you want to become, even before you become. The minute you start telling yourself, this is what I want to become, and start working towards it, start putting the building blocks in place, that itself boosts your self-esteem so much. It's a virtuous cycle. You keep working on yourself, you get better at it, and then you come out better as a brand. So creating a brand is not about, talking to people, or creating some advertisement about yourself. It's just expressing yourself in multiple ways. Now, another question that Shweta had sent to me was, how does social media play a role? Now, today, thankfully, social media plays a very productive role in building your brand. But it's also a very cluttering role, so you need to find a way to look through the clutter. But what social media does is, first, it provides you a tool. Now, it's a very powerful tool, but people get to know who you are, so that way it is valuable. So on that, how do you then build? So you see many CAs. So for example, somebody has a specialization in digital. They'll keep posting, saying, try this formula, try this digital transformation I did, something or the other. They will keep posting stuff. Now, but you don't stop there. Then you start creating meaningful connections. What do you mean by meaningful connections? Which means that it's not just you have some 10,000 followers. We have people who post on LinkedIn saying 1 lakh followers. The human brain can, properly engage with only 120 people. And that is what I think psychology books say. So it is not about how many followers you have or how many people you're following. It is how many meaningful interactions you're creating out of it. So for example, if you've posted something, somebody has commented, you're following through with that person, the person expresses interest in what you're following through, then you set up a meeting, go and explain to them what you have done. See if you can take that connection forward. So that is how social media, and then with that person, you've landed your brand. So that kind of interaction that you're creating, and it's not just about you. There is this theory in psychology which says many times, many things we do. For example, we buy a very expensive car. We think that, we're doing it because it's a social status. But actually, nobody other than us cares about our car. So it is like that. Many times, many of the stuff we do, we just feel like, oh, wow, I posted this. But, you have to respond to others. Look at what others are posting, have your point of view, connect with people, communicate with people, build meaningful connections, content, communication. That's what builds your brand. But in social media, there are few do's and don'ts. Don't post any confidential data. So I'm talking about my brand. My company just finished one massive diligence. Don't post it until it's a public news. You don't end up posting. I was part of the diligence. But what you could say is, when the company makes the public announcement for the diligence, nothing wrong in posting that the learning experience from this diligence was very productive for me, from data that is available in public media. So there is a way to share, without breaching confidentiality, client confidential data. I did this for the client without taking client permission. If you post, you could get sued. So be very careful, especially on social media. People tend to be impulsive. They post things without reading them. Some of it may be confidential, some of them may be offensive, some of them may be premature. Second is a little bit of humility always helps. To say I was part of the team is better than saying, I did this. It helps build meaningful connections. It is better to keep out of political, religious, polarized views. You can share them. There is no point in going on LinkedIn and posting, I hate this political leader. No need. How does it matter? If you have a point of view, share it among your friends in some close group, who actually will either hate the political leader or tell you why they love the political leader. Posting it on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook makes no impact. Before putting any post on social media, be always aware that it's your brand that you're putting there. It's your identity. Does it resonate with what you want to communicate? And of course, try to, not just you promote other people. Somebody posts a good article, share saying, yes, this is a good article, I liked it. It's a virtuous cycle. Create that type of virtuous interactions. The other question you had asked me was saying how much time I should invest. So it's very, very dependent, So if you, for example, if you're the topmost point here is if you're just expressing your authentic true self, it's just all the time, 24/7, you're expressing yourself. So that does not mean that, you have to, I will set aside 20 minutes in a day where I'll promote my brand, and the balance 23 hours and 40 minutes, I'm some different person. That's not going to go anywhere. At the same time, for creating meaningful engagements, you have to invest that time. So it will also be a little bit proportional to at what stage you are. If you're at a very early stage building your connections, it will take some time. You have to put in more effort. Some people will not respond. Many connections may not pan out. It's okay. You made that investment. You've learned something from it. If you're at a more advanced stage of your brand and people already know you, recognize you, if you connect with them, they respond, then some of the time that you will spend on this will be, a little lesser. Now, the other aspect is that we need to know the difference between networking and brand building. Networking and brand building is not the same. So let's say, when I used to be studying for CA, I used to be a member in Sikasa. So, I used to stand and welcome everybody for the conference. And, I may say, I know the president, I know the vice president, I know the secretary. That is networking. There is no brand Sandhya there. But then I also put up my hand and say, I'll present a paper in Sikasa on a good topic. If the paper is good, then people will remember you for the paper. So that is the difference between networking and branding. You can have thousands of networks that is a vehicle for your brand, but just having a network is not your brand. Building your brand is a little bit over and above just having connections and people knowing you. The other aspect is the other angle, which many women actually ask, saying that why do people don't know if I do good work? Will people not see me? Will they not already know me? Why do I need to tell them what I have done? So there are two aspects to this. One is that there is a lot of information asymmetry, a lot of clutter. So it is always good to find a way to meaningfully communicate what you've done. But more important aspect of this is, in your own mind, if you want to have clarity of what outcome you've achieved, if you are able to organize your thoughts, saying, I did day in, day out, I did work very hard for 365 days. That's okay. But what did you achieve? What were the 5 deliverables that you did? If you talk to yourself about it, you yourself will know what you stand for. What have you created? Then if you've anyway done this hard work and built that content, then why don't you talk to people about it in a meaningful way that this is what I did? So there is nothing wrong in talking about what you did. The other question that people ask me is that sometimes if women are aggressive or they have a point of view, then people often misunderstand. So here there are few perspectives I wanted to share. One is there is a difference between aggression and assertiveness. aggression can, if you want to be assertive on your point, that is more important than being aggressive. If you be aggressive, there is a chance that you can address the person rather than the issue. In any topic, it is very important that you address the issue, not the person. So it should not happen that your subordinate has done poor work and after you give a feedback to that person, and tomorrow neither can you look the person in the eye or nor can he or she look you in the eye. Then what is the point? So if you're able to address the issue, tell the person that maybe these things we could have done differently, but at the same time end with a note that your relationship is not compromised. That is when aggression is helpful. So it does not mean that you should not give feedback, not be assertive, not, you can even be aggressive, but to the issue, not the person. And the other last aspect is that we have to see that this doesn't get into our head. It doesn't, not so much for women. I'm sorry for the stereotype, but you know, but that's the other aspect. And finally, seek feedback. Keep asking feedback. Ask people, what did I do correct? What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Keep asking feedback. Bore people asking them feedback. People in your circle, people who you think can give you feedback, because it makes you better. So finally, to conclude, because I want to have 5-10 minutes for questions, is that people respect value creation. If you create value and you are able to bring that value in a succinct way to people to know what you have done, you will earn respect of people. That's your brand. If you bring genuine intent to the table, you give your genuine attempt to the event, to the whatever is on the table, whatever is being assigned to you, that's your brand. And if people see you for who you think your image in your mind is, that is how you created your brand. So with that, Shweta, I'll hand over back to you, and I can take a few questions, but I have a little bit of a hard cut off here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for, I mean, what should I say? It's a thought-provoking, at the same time, it's very motivating session, which you shared with us, all the thoughts. So one question it's come to me is like, whether, I mean, our brand is impacting through our appearance, I mean, dressing sense, or talking way. I mean, if I'm talking in English or Hindi or some vernacular language or something like that. So what do you say on that?
So see, I am a believer that, you know, the way you dress builds your own self-confidence. Forget the other person. You feel nice if you dress well. Especially, you know, many women, you feel nice if you dress well. So one, of course, you know, when you go into a professional scenario, you have to dress professionally. But the only small tip I will have there is, you can just be yourself. I see many times women where even if you feel comfortable, you feel nice in wearing certain attire, you should. But don't wear it because somebody else will only value if you walk in with a suit and not with a sari. If you love a sari, you should wear a sari. You know, I have even walked into meetings in the UK with a sari, like that, just to make a point. You know, I can wear Western as well, but I just wanted to make a point that this is me. And if you see Indra Nooyi's book, she says, you know, when she starts her career, she decided to go to meetings with saris. It's okay. So wear what truly depicts who you are. Having said that, it has to be appropriate for the occasion. Not loud, not colorful, not jing-bangish, you know. So that is the, that other than that, you should be comfortable in whatever you wear. That's an expression of yourself and gives you more self-confidence when you are, you know, in your own skin. The second aspect is how you talk. Now, I personally am a believer that if you generate value, people are not going to mind your accent. People are not going to mind your, you know, language. But unfortunately, there is a little bit of that bias in our society, where, you know, I keep telling this when I take job interviews. I tell candidates, you know, just because you can't answer my question in English does not mean that you are any lesser than the person who, you know, came before you. But then our society still has a little bit of way to go. So we still have to work on a little bit of being able to relate to people and build the initial connections. There is some amount of investment we have to make in being able to communicate in a language, in a language that we can both easily communicate in. But eventually, once you build your brand, once people know who you are, they don't care what language you speak to them in. They only value you for what you bring to the table.
Yeah, it's really, really important. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me check if any questions is there. Okay, so one message in the chat box is thank you, Sandhya, for the wonderful tips. I can relate to you as I am of the similar genesis as you. One question, when did you start with your personal journey of creating your own brand?
So I think I have the ICAI to credit for this. So I actually, all of these things which I was doing is just me. It was not that in my mind there was that I was trying to create a brand or something. But somewhere the MEC of ICAI actually picked it up and said, look, you seem to be building a brand here. Why don't you talk about it? That's when I stepped back and said, okay, what is this? What do you mean by creating a brand? And then when I started putting the pieces together, I realized, yeah, okay, what I'm doing is actually creating a brand. I'm not saying I'm the world famous brand or something. Whatever I am, I'm happy. So, I think I have more the ICAI to credit that, when the ICAI started asking me to talk about brand building, then I started looking at this topic with more, theoretical aspect to it as well. And that I think maybe about 10, 12 years back.
Okay, great. So we have so many.
Here, Shweta, I want to add one thing. I heard the Sandhya madam in 2014.
Yes.
In WIRC platform. Yes, in women is the women conference at I think that in Worli near Parel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard her first time there, and from that day I am impressed with Sandhya madam.
Yes. So what I was saying is so many male members also joined us today. So what you want to say for them also? Of course, brand is common for all, male or female, both. So just.
I think, like you said, brand is not gender sensitive, but I feel that for women, the motivations are a little different. I feel maybe the way we are wired. For men, the motivations are a little different. The way, so for example, to be appreciated is women don't come forward and say, you've not appreciated me. But also it doesn't bother them so much if they go unappreciated, because sometimes they feel that it's okay, next time it will come. But for men, it bothers them a lot when they don't get the right recognition, right appreciation. Maybe that's because, and I'm sorry, I'm not stereotyping, so please don't mistake me, but it bothers them more. So sometimes we also have to have that appreciation about how people perceive things and be able to make that up. So I feel that for men, I would only say that when you have other team members of yours, and please look at them for for example, if you have a male team member, deal with him with that. He will come with certain perspectives, certain aspirations, certain approach to life. A female team member will come. Each individual is different. So when you have team members, you groom them, nurture them. Please create future women leaders. For if you are in leadership positions, please bring more women leaders forward. That's what we need.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know you have to rush for the flight, so will not take much time. Just a last rituals, we can say that I request to Pinky for formal vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. It's my pleasure to give a vote of thanks to CS Sandhya Sriram. Actually, it was my dream, I can say, that I want to heard her. And Sandhya madam is not new to us. What I told you that I heard her first time in 2014, and she can speak on various topics. She is so versatile, and her tips on brand building is very impressive today. And she spread positivity. When I heard her speak today, I feel positive in myself. So she spread positive with the topic brand building, and she answered all the question in so lucid manner and with practical approach. So, and we can say that Sandhya Sriram is now a brand. She creates her own personal brand. So with this, I don't want to make a later because he has to rush. So I request all the participant and all the panelists to please give her heartily words of thanks with round of applause. And madam, definitely we will call you again and again because
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
And we will,
so much
and we
for
will,
joining
and
us.
we are working, and we will work to create a women leader. What you had suggested us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So please go ahead, Pinky, for the further proceedings.
Yeah. So now our second speaker is CA Parinita Adukia, and she is not very new to us. But who doesn't know the CA Parinita? The CA Parinita is a personal branding coach. She works with the professional and practicing CA to help them unleash their true potential, work on their branding and grow faster. She has worked with the professional from companies like PwC, Kotak Bank, HSBC, Aircon Technologies, NSC, Cipla, Musk, amongst other, and a lot of CAs. She has coached more than 15,000 professionals and students till date, and she focused on making each individual capable to express themselves the best so they become successful and gain authority. So it's like a social service, I think I can say. So now with this, I want to request you, Parinita, to give us knowledge how we can create brand building and how it is important to a CA, because we CA are very poor in this topic. We are working hard, but we can't express, we can't expose ourselves that what we are doing. Okay, so in recent scenario, it is very much required because you all know that what the image of CA is going down. So we all should create the brand, and because if we all will create our personal brand, it will be a collective CA brand, I can say.
Right.
So please guide us how we can create that.
Thank you so much, Pinky ma'am, for such a humble introduction. मतलब social service का तो पता नहीं, but institute के लिए जरूर service है, because you know, a lot of, especially, I'll be very frank, especially once I started, you know, taking up GMCS and MCS sessions, I realized, you know, there is so much to give back to the institute and to the students, and like you said, you know, develop the brand that we really wish our CA students to have. So I didn't intend to put this, but with taking forward from where Pinky ma'am just said, CA ka image, I have a very short story as to why I started working in personal branding. So mine was an arranged marriage. So arranged marriage mein wo biodatas exchange hote hain. So my biodata went to my prospective husband. He's not a CA. So he opened the biodata and two of his colleagues were standing with him. So he opened it. It was CA Parinita, NM college. He's like, no, I don't want to marry a CA. बहुत boring होगी. Dress भी करना नहीं आता होगा, बात नहीं करनी आती होगी. I'm not marrying her. And he quickly, you know, shut down the resume, my biodata. Thankfully, unfortunately, fortunately, पता नहीं. But उनकी colleague was also a CA from NM college. So she, you know, persuaded कि नहीं, I must be knowing her. So they opened, yes, she knew me, she was my friend, and that's how I met and everything. And in the first very meeting, that my husband told me, okay, you don't look like a CA. And I was very confused. ये क्या है? मतलब, you don't look like a CA, you don't behave like a CA.
This is, Parinita, this is the common question. We all are, सबको सुनने मिलता है, CA जैसे लगते नहीं हो, तो CA को कोई सींग लगे होते हैं क्या यार?
हाँ, मतलब CA, तो फिर I was very confused, ये बोल क्या रहे हैं? And that's when, you know, you start thinking and you analyzing कि क्या, what is a outsider's perspective of a CA? क्या ब्रांड है सीए का आज, अगर सीए स्टूडेंट्स है या सीए प्रोफेशनल्स है, उनका ब्रांडिंग कैसा है? And that's when I started working on building personal brands for CA. So thank you so much, Pinky ma'am, for giving this platform. Thank you, Shweta ma'am, for inviting me. And I really
can I add 2 sentences?
Please ma'am, please.
आपने जो बोला ना कि जब आपका नाम देखा सीए परिणीता तो उसको लगा सीए होंगे तो बोरिंग होंगे. For that, I just want to share my experience. I went for statutory audit in 2003 or 4 in a bank. तो वहाँ मेरी आदत है, मैं तो बहुत हंसते देती हूँ. तो वो ब्रांच मैनेजर ना थोड़ी देर बाद मेरे को ऐसे देख रहा है कंटिन्यू. मैं बोली क्या हुआ? तो बोलते हैं सीए हंसते हैं क्या? पहली बार कोई सीए को हंसते हुए देखा. तो लाइक दैट वो सीए की इमेज ऐसी बनी हुई है कि सीए हमेशा सीरियस रहते हैं और दे कांट लाफ एंड दे कांट एंजॉय लाइफ, यू कैन से.
और आई रियली thanks to such enthusiastic members that we have with us today, organizing such diverse topics. I'm sure we are going towards that brand building. So thank you so much. Ma'am is not there, Sandhya ma'am. She was amazing. All the pointers that she covered were such, I was in a dilemma when I was preparing for this webinar ki main kya include karu. And thankfully I didn't include all these points. And I'm so happy that she set the right, bolte na opening batsman ka kaam kiya unhone. वो पूरा मतलब मुझे आगे इनिंग्स में मेरे को टेंशन ही नहीं, उन्होंने इतना अच्छा ओपनिंग दिया है मुझे. She covered all the points perfectly, describing what personal branding is, क्यों important है और उनके एक्सपीरियंस से उन्होंने कैसे personal branding build किया है. She was just amazing. So taking forward from where Sandhya ma'am left us with a thought of the importance and knowing what personal branding is, what I will be doing is I'll be guiding you towards now how can you build that personal brand. What are the steps and what are the areas you need to focus on? So ma'am, I'll ask for the permission. I'll just share my screen. Okay, thank you. Okay, so welcome to the session. I'm CA Parinita. Yeah. So just quickly on this note, I would like to ask, Pinky ma'am ne bola hi hai, as a CA, if anybody wants to share, as a CA, आपका challenge क्या है?
This is interactive session, so anyone can put an answer in chat box also. Please.
I think the problem is for me, it is like the challenge is we are in a noble profession, so it is very difficult to perceive ourselves as a business person or a person who needs to earn money also and not just give out noble services.
Right. That ethical dilemma, that dharma और कर्म का संकट. Yes.
और दूसरा ये होता है कि हम सीए है ना, तो लोगों को लगता है कि हमें सब चीज पता होगा, मतलब जीएसटी भी, आरबीआई का भी, फेमा का भी, इनकम टैक्स का भी. सो देयर एक्सपेक्टेशन इज टू हाई कि सीए मींस पूरा गूगल इंसाइक्लोपीडिया पूरा सीए को पता होना चाहिए.
मैम आप तो प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, हम तो प्रैक्टिस भी नहीं करते, फिर भी हमसे एक्सपेक्टेशन आता है. नहीं पता. Okay, super. Yes. So few challenges that I have also.
इसमें एक मैडम ने लिखा है, उषा सुंदर मैडम ने, कि like Pinky madam said, we work very hard and diligently, but we don't speak much about ourselves. That is not into show and tell. And एक और अपने अटेंडेंस लिख रहे हैं कि I think major challenges are communication skills, personal brand, high expectation in all area.
Okay, yes. So these are the aspects जो बोलते ना presumed होते कि ये तो आनी चाहिए, but not really taught to us. So this we have to
Actually-
self-learn.
एक्चुअली हम वहां पर फ्लैग करते हैं कि परिणीता, जैसा मुझे लगता है कि हमें लगता है कि यदि हम अपने बारे में ही बोलेंगे तो ऐसा होगा कि अपने मुंह में अभी बन रहा है। तो एक वैसा शुरू से माइंडसेट किया हुआ है कि पीपल शुड स्पीक अबाउट यू, you should not speak about you, your work should speak about you and people should speak about you. So that's why हमें लगता है कि हम अपना ही बोलेंगे तो ऐसे लोगों को लगेगा कि हम अपने बारे में ज्यादा बोल रहे हैं या अपने शो कॉज कर रहे हैं, वैसा कुछ। इसके लिए भी हम नहीं कर पाते ये चीजें।
तो इसका एक है, जैसे संध्या मैम ने बोला, आप क्या शेयर करते हो। आप अगर वैल्यू ऐड करोगे अपनी कॉन्वर्सेशंस में या सोशल मीडिया पे, तो यू आर इनडायरेक्टली शोइंग योर एक्सपर्टीज, पर जैसे मैम ने बोला अपने मुंह या मिट्ठू भी नहीं बन रहे। So it is that, and we'll cater to that point also. I've included that in my presentation. So yes, these are the few challenges which I think all the CAs and मेरा जितना interaction हुआ है CAs के साथ, these are the common challenges. चाहे वो networking हो, चाहे वो communication हो, how to put yourself out there, how to openly tell about yourself, ये सब कुछ challenges है. And let's try and address that. Okay? So उसके पहले मुझे फटाफट से I want you to एनालाइज योर ब्रांडिंग। आज आप कहाँ पे है, तभी आप कहीं आगे बढ़ पाओगे, राइट? सो क्विकली थिंक अबाउट दीज क्वेश्चंस। कैन आई इंट्रोड्यूस माई सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंटली एंड करेक्टली टू स्ट्रेंजर्स? यस और नो। अपने मन में वो यस या नो पे जवाब देते रहिए। कैन आई इंट्रोड्यूस माई सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंटली एंड करेक्टली टू स्ट्रेंजर्स? Yes or no? Am I confident that I look and dress as a successful chartered accountant? Yes or no? Am I confident that people recognize and remember me as a CA? Do I inspire people as a chartered accountant? Do people remember my traits and my strength? Am I well connected on digital platforms? Do I network well enough? Okay. So on that note, I won't cater to this question because Sandhya ma'am ne bahut achhe se she's explained what personal branding is. So I'm not going into that again, but quickly I'll just say one sentence. It is the way people remember you. How are you remembered is personal branding. Simple as that. Okay. So let's take quickly few examples for you to connect ki personal branding kya hota hai. We all know Amitabh Bachchan for his voice. Yes, he's amazing as an actor. He's great as a personality. But voice is something that we all remember and recognize Amitabh Bachchan with. If you know Sachin, he's known for his technical skills. He's a great cricketer. But what stands him apart, how we remember him as a cricketer, is his technical skills. Narendra Modi is known for his boldness. He's very strong and bold as a personality. I didn't want to include this, but Sandhya ma'am touched that and I'm going to ask. So if anybody can, answer how Shweta Jain ma'am is remembered or known as. So I know her as a... I didn't want to include that, but Sandhya ma'am poked me to include her. So Shweta ma'am is, as I know her, her branding is, smart, intelligent, and graceful. That's what I, relate Shweta ma'am to. That's a branding of Shweta ma'am for me.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay. So again, why personal branding is important, Sandhya ma'am has covered it beautifully. But just to give you some numbers, okay? Can you tell me what this number represents? 350,000. 350,000.
CA members.
Sorry?
CA members hai kya?
Yes, perfect. So we have approximately 350,000 members in India today, right? And usme se, if we do approximate numbering, 125 into practicing, 225s are into job or business or not practicing or whatever. I want to ask you one question, and Sandhya ma'am touched on this. What makes you stand out? In this number, if you're practicing in 1,25,000, what makes you stand out? And if you're in a job or business, in that 2,25,000, what makes you stand out? That's your branding. So are you working on your branding? And why personal branding is so important? एक इंसान से क्या होता है? Remember Patanjali? It didn't become successful because of the products. It was only successful because of one person who changed the face of yoga in India, who changed the face, who took Patanjali to what it is today. It's only one person, the branding of one person. That's the power of personal branding. That's the power of how you present yourself. And this is the statistics from CA Institute itself, that more than 95% of the CA firms in India are either solo, one person proprietorship, or partnership firms with less than 5 members. Which is why personal branding becomes so important, especially for practicing CAs. So these are the general aspects that we cover in personal branding. That is, you start analyzing your personal brand just the way Sandhya ma'am told. Start analyzing, you start communicating your personal brand, you start digitalizing your personal brand, and you also groom your personal brand. Okay, so these are the main 4 aspects that we cover and we talk about when we talk about personal branding. But today what we'll be doing is, I'm giving you 5 steps to start building your personal brand as a chartered accountant. Okay, 5 steps, 5 workable steps. So let's get on with the first step. Introducing yourself. Would anybody here? So there are a few questions. I'll cater to them towards the end. Don't worry. Right now, if anybody would like to introduce yourself, you can write it in the chat box. Please introduce yourself. Couple of people.
Should I start?
Ma'am, please go ahead.
I'm CA Pinky Kedia, practicing chartered accountant. My office is in Andheri East, and currently I am RCM of WIRC of ICI. And my core area is audit and taxation, and our vertical is also for project finance and restructuring also. So, and my hobby to spread positivity.
Wow,
That's all.
super. That's really interesting. Thank you, Pinky ma'am. So Arun,
But I want your सच्चा comments कि हमें को इसमें क्या improve करना है.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. So Arun Balaji has also written, he's a practicing chartered accountant from Chennai. Welcome, Arun. Thank you for being here. Okay. So generally, if you see what people, when you ask for an introduction or when you are giving your introduction, yes, you go in a regular structure of your name, where do you stay, what do you do. Some things that you can add, and I'll be telling a very basic format. What is the value that you are adding to the conversation? How do I remember you? So if I meet a Pinky ma'am after say a month or a year, how do I remember her? I will remember her by the positive, because that is something very interesting aspect that she added about herself. Okay. ऐसे ही, how do you make your introduction memorable? Because trust me, introduction is the biggest brand building step, that foundation that you put for yourself. है ना? पहला 3-5 सेकंड is the main in, वो बोलते हैं ना, image maker or breaker. So how do you introduce yourself? Let's get on to a couple of examples. I'm giving you a format for both practicing and working CAs. I'm giving you a format which you can use. So let's first see the people who are into jobs. Okay, the CA people with us today who are into jobs. So I am, say, I am XYZ. I live in this city. I am working with the company's name. In the profile, what happens is, especially when you're a job, आप यहाँ पे अपना introduction बंद कर देते हो, and you assume the opposite person कि उसको समझ जाना चाहिए ना कि मेरा profile क्या है, मेरा काम क्या है, but ऐसा नहीं होता. And especially when you are a CA, सामने वाले को बिल्कुल भी नहीं समझ में आएगा आप क्या काम करते. So your role is to simplify आप क्या करते हो और आप कैसे करते हो for the opposite person. तभी आप वो conversations आगे ले जा पाओगे. So after in the profile, you have to add what is your role. So you say where my role is, and you briefly explain what exactly do you do. You manage a team, you lead a team, and you help cater to clients directly. You speak with them. Whatever your role is, you have to explain them briefly. Okay. And I help. Now, how do you add value? Whom do you help? What kind of clients do you cater to? How do you add value to their life? Is what they are looking for. तभी उनको समझ में आएगा कि आप exactly काम करते क्या हो. नहीं तो after every introduction, there's a question mark. क्या करते क्या हो? Okay. End way, like Preeti ma'am, Pinky ma'am added, you can add, I want to achieve, or I want to do this in life, or I represent this in life. Anything you can add. I'm a first attempt. So somebody has given the introduction. I'm a first attempt chartered accountant and senior manager executive, or 20 years of experience in auto industry and international business. I've handled various business facing roles and have an enjoyable career in co-creating value through business partnering. I enjoy learning new things every day. Super, Usha ji, very, very nice. Superb. If you're giving this an introduction to a CA person, if your audience is a CA, of course, that person will understand what you're saying. Just a suggestion, if your audience is a non-CA person, non-technical person, you can simplify your role so that the person understands what you exactly do. Just that. Okay, you can change your introduction, and you should change your introduction. This goes for everybody as per the audience you are facing. That will really have a better impact. Okay, so if you want, take a screenshot. Next, we go to practicing CAs. So hi, I am this, a practicing chartered accountant. I work with, now I understand the part of confidentiality. So I'm not telling you to name the clients. What I want you to do is just the kind of clients. So like Pinky ma'am said about the couple of areas that she works with, you can mention that, or the kind of clients, in the sense the industry. So I cater to manufacturing industry sector, or I cater to agriculture sector, whatever your niche is, you can say that. This part is very important. I have come, I think more than 90% of practicing CAs just refer themselves as a practicing CA. And when I ask them, what are you practicing into? हम सब कुछ करते हैं, हम tax भी करते हैं, हम audit भी करते हैं. Every CA is doing all these aspects. That's fine. But what do you work with? What is your specialty? That is very important. Only then are you building your brand. Only then will people remember you. Okay. So again, and I help them with, that is the area of practice. So, it can be internal audit, it can be taxation, GST, whatever you do. Okay. Next is a help too. So for example, this is a very interesting thing. People ask me, what should I write here? So for example, I work with manufacturing clients and help them with the internal audits so that their processes are made easier and they increase their profitability. That is the value that your service is adding to the clients. आपके सर्विस से क्लाइंट्स को क्या फायदा हो रहा है, you should be telling because you're a service provider. That is when you build your brand. तभी लोग आपके पास आपके सर्विस के लिए आएंगे. Otherwise, there are a lot of CAs. They'll go to anyone. आपके पास क्यों आएंगे? Is because the value that you're adding as a service provider. Okay. End में, of course, you can give a personal touch with what do you want to achieve or what do you believe in, what do you want to do in life. You love traveling, you're a positive person, you're a passionate person like Sandhya ma'am. You can add anything that you wish for. Okay. Again, anybody would like to try, or you can take a screenshot. Perfect. Let's move ahead. Step number 2. So Sandhya ma'am very well covered this point, and I'll be covering this again in a bit of different way. So, she very well said ki, when she used to stand there and she used to say ki, I know the president, I know the vice president. That's networking, yes, but that's not brand building. And there is a way in which you network and build your brand. So I'd like to ask, people present here, what do you think is networking? If anybody wants to share in the chat, what do you think is networking? So when I generally ask this question, ki networking kya hota hai, people tend to respond ki, meeting people, when you go and meet many people around, or you socialize, that's networking. So that's not networking. Okay, that's just meeting people. And the biggest mistake of networking is thinking if you meet 100 people, that's networking. If you talk to 100 people, that's networking. To get an idea, yes. So that's the first step of networking, when you meet different people to get an idea. When you complete networking is when you build connecting with the target audience and communicating with people to exchange ideas. Superb, yes. Trying to make a connect with people. After you connect with people, after you touch people, after you talk to them, the next step of networking is very important. And that's the biggest mistake people do, is not going to the second step. That's building relation. Like Sandhya ma'am said, it's not important that, there are 1 lakh people in your network. What is important is how many people are engaging, or how many people are really, do you touch lives, and how much value do you add to people? That's the networking that we are looking for. And that will build your brand. How many people are talking about you in a positive way, of course, is networking. Okay. So let's see the steps, tips to build your right network. The first is to know your purpose, which means whenever you are going to any networking, networking meet, or you're meeting anybody, you should know the purpose, both of yours and the opposite person. What is the purpose that you're meeting for? That is very important, because that will drive the conversation. The quality of conversation आपका कैसा रहता है, आप किस तरह से बात करते हो, that will depend on the purpose of your meeting. If that's very clear, you will have the right networking. Okay. Don't go with the only mindset कि मुझे सबके साथ network करना है. Not everybody are meant to be in your network. It's okay. Yes, you should interact with everybody, but you should not network with everybody. दोनों में difference है. नेटवर्क आप रिलेशन उनके साथ ही बनाइए जिनके साथ आपको लगता है कि आगे not directly indirectly but there is some kind of connection. I'm not only saying that it should be a professional connection, it can be say I like talking to somebody because our thoughts match or our ideas match, or that person really inspires me. Can be anything, but don't network with everybody, because your energy will just be distributed, will not be focused. Okay, so know your purpose when you go into a conversation. Prepare well for networking. This is something that I really do, and you should all do. Whenever you talk to any person, so what I've done is, I've made a set of questions and set of conversation topics for different kind of people that I meet. Clients है तो एक set of questions और topics है, मेरे relatives है तो एक set of questions है, मेरे friends है तो एक set of questions है, some CAs है, co-chartered accountants है तो एक set of questions या topics है. In this way, you'll never out of topic in conversations. You're always, what to talk, and you are never have that question mark कि अब आगे क्या बोले. बात क्या करे is the biggest टेंशन. जब आप किसी को मिलते हो कि अरे यार इससे बात क्या करें, ठीक है बात करनी है, बट क्या करे इज अ बिग सेट ब्लॉक. तो अगर आप यू प्रिपेयर वेल, यू विल नेवर बी आउट ऑफ टॉपिक्स एंड यू विल हैव अ मीनिंगफुल कॉन्वर्सेशन विद दैट पर्सन. नेक्स्ट इज मेमोरेबल इंप्रेशन. फर्स्ट, हाउ डू यू मेक अ मेमोरेबल इंप्रेशन इज स्टार्ट विद अ कॉन्फिडेंट इंट्रोडक्शन. आप जैसे ही वो एकदम कॉन्फिडेंट इंट्रोडक्शन दोगे ना, वो इंसान वैसे ही आपसे इंप्रेस हो जाए. So start with a memorable introduction and then move ahead with good quality conversation. Okay. And next step is, of course, you can keep in touch with the person. Now this is something very crucial. Even Murtaza sir mentioned कि आप कैसे touch में रहते हो. Can be any way. It can be on social media. You send a connect on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you're comfortable, or you take a WhatsApp. You take the number, send a WhatsApp or email, whatever is the right appropriate manner for that person. आप उनके साथ टच में रहिए. This is the crucial part of networking. हम सिर्फ मिल के नंबर लेके रह जाते, but उससे networking नहीं build कर रहे ना. You're just knowing people. You're not building a network. Network आप तब build करते जब आप relation बनाते. A relation कैसे बनेगा is when you stay in touch with the person. So the last point is the main point of networking. Stay in touch. But remember, staying in touch is not only sending random messages, sending valuable message. सामने वाले को क्या, what are you adding to the person? What is the value that you're adding to the person? Agar if that message is not valuable, I won't even open to read the message. ठीक है? So your messages should be very targeted. किसको मैं कैसे type का message करूं to keep in touch is very important. So be in touch. Keep sending good messages, valuable messages, or staying connect on social media through your valuable post. People do read your post. काफी बार आपको पता भी नहीं चलता है. People do follow you and read your post if it's valuable. So have that connection in place. Okay, so that's networking for you. I've also written a small ebook on 5 ways that chartered accountants can build their network. What I'll do is I'll quickly I'm typing the link in the chat. If anybody wishes, it's a free ebook. If anybody wishes to read it, do give it a read. I hope it adds value to you. One second. Yeah. So this is the link. You can download the ebook. It's free of cost. Okay. So, okay. Then we come to step number 3, a very, very important, and I think one of the topics that even Sandhya ma'am covered is building your digital presence. So social media is one of the part of your digital presence. Digital presence includes your overall presence on digital, be it the way you appear on Google search, or if you have a website, or even in your company website, or your blogging, your videos, your YouTube, and also your social media. So everything, even if you answer on Quora, whatever steps you're taking digitally, okay, everything is covered in your digital presence. And this digital presence is very, very important today. Let's see why. Okay. So if you see digitally, in India, there are 2.8 million active users. Okay. MSMEs, okay, there are 31 million users. And there are 31 million companies, active companies who are active digitally in India. Okay. And there are only 0.35 million practicing only. Okay. Overall CAs in India. See that base which you can reach to with only such number of CAs in India. One of the very important platforms that I will be talking today is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is, I really feel, and I have personally gained a lot out of LinkedIn, professionally and personally. It's a beautiful platform. Again, like Sandhya ma'am said, if used properly, LinkedIn is a very, very good platform professionally if you're using. So let's see how you can do that. And there are 310 million users in, who are actively using LinkedIn today. In India alone, there are 69 million users on LinkedIn. So why LinkedIn is important? It gives you industry knowledge. It helps you get connected to educationalists, corporates, potential recruiters if you're in a job, fellow students or different students, entrepreneurs, internships. You can apply for internship jobs. You get connected to thought leaders. You get connected to experts. Okay. And how do you build your personal brand on LinkedIn is what we will see. Easy steps to first is to enhance your LinkedIn profile. Let's see how quickly you can enhance. Okay. And trust me, your LinkedIn profile is very, very important. So the first is your name should be correct. I see a lot of people not putting their name correctly on LinkedIn. या तो उनका first letter छोटा होता है, या तो prefix नहीं होता है. Remember, if you have a prefix, please you will use it. Name correctly डालिए, okay, so that it's easy to search you. Then comes the headline. Now, what is headline? If you see, नाम के नीचे जो part है, where I've written founder portraiture to, best version of you, this is headline. And what headline is a short brief of what you do or what you believe in. Okay, so जैसे हमने introduction बनाया था अपना, right? उसी तरह से आप अपना अपना headline LinkedIn पे डाल सकते हैं. Why headline is very important is, say I'm a practicing CA and I work in a risk advisory. Okay, so I would of course want my clients to know that I'm a risk advisory, practicing CA. And if somebody searches for risk advisory, if they put risk advisory in the search box in LinkedIn, what LinkedIn does is, the keywords in your headline is what it catches in the search. So अगर आपने headline में risk advisory डाला है, तो आपका नाम searches में reflect होगा, otherwise नहीं होगा. Okay, so if you want to be searched for something, तो उसको अपने headline में डालिए. That's very, very important. Okay. Next is the institute, of course, where have you studied from, or you're an alumni of where you can put that. Photo, again, a very important aspect. The way you the way your face should be 70%, 60 to 70% आपका face होना चाहिए. दूर का, zoomed out photographs मत डालो. Let people actually see who you are. Your photo, of course, has to be in a professional attire, in a professional manner. Okay. Cover photo, again, a very important aspect. If you see the portion behind the photographs, the rectangle portion is the cover photo. Again, it's a visual depiction of who you are and what you do. Okay, so as I'm a service provider, I kept it very simple. I kept, your personal branding coach, because I wanted, a personal connect to whoever is coming to my profile, plus given a quick, my number, so he can quickly connect with me or visit my website. So a quick action, a to-do thing, that's very important. So इसीलिए मैंने cover photo अपना simple रखा है. You can keep it anything, things that you believe in. This was my previous cover photo, or you can keep a quote like this: great things never come from comfort zone, that you believe in. It can be anything, but it should be a reflection of who you are. तभी आप अपना brand बनाओगे. Okay. The next part is when you talk about the about section. Okay, the about section is where you talk about your profile, what you do, what have you studied, what is your experience, what is your goal, service, everything. Okay, it is like it's a virtual resume for you. Why will anybody connect with you is because of your about section. What have you put there? So again, complete your about section. You can take a screenshot if you wish कि about section में क्या-क्या आप डाल सकते हो. Also, if you're a service provider, I really recommend that even in your about section, do give your contact details. So for, it's very convenient for people to connect with you. Connections. Now, this is also very important. Connect to the right people. Like Sandhya ma'am said, it's not important कि आपके connection में 1 लाख लोग हैं, but अगर 10,000 भी है, अगर 1,000 भी है, तो it should be the right connect. So connect to the right people. आपका target audience कौन है? आप किन के साथ connect करना चाहते हो? आप अपने thoughts किन के साथ share करना चाहते हो? उन्हीं लोगों के साथ connect कीजिए. Okay? Keep messaging them. Like we talked about in the networking part. कनेक्शन बनाना जरूरी नहीं है, उनके साथ कनेक्शन रखना जरूरी है. Okay, so message them, ask for help, ask doubts, or just introduce yourself, but keep connecting, keep messaging them on private as well if you really want to build a network. Next thing on LinkedIn that you can do is share good articles. Either if you have written those articles or somebody else has written those articles, doesn't matter. अच्छे valuable post हमेशा पढ़े जाते हैं. Post डालिए, activity कीजिए, मतलब दूसरों के साथ comment कीजिए, दूसरों के post पे engage कीजिए. Okay? Comment on relevant post and crack intelligent conversations with people. Very important. Trust me, I have gained so much out of this. I have gained clients because of this. मैं जिनको जानती भी नहीं, because of my activity on LinkedIn, they approached me. I've made friends, good professional friends on LinkedIn, just the way I have connected with them over, the commenting part. When I comment on their post, they comment on my post. That's the way relationships are built. Okay. So LinkedIn, very important if you use them correctly. So digital presence होना बहुत जरूरी है. One more thing I want to cover in the digital presence is, people have this question that there are so many social media websites, Facebook पे है, Instagram भी है, LinkedIn भी है, तो Quora भी है, YouTube भी है. How to be active on all the platforms? It's so time consuming. And, like somebody had asked also, how much time you should invest in all this, in social media, and in personal branding. And if I just talk about how much time you should invest in social media, the first point is trust me, you need not be on every social media. Okay. It's not important to be present. You need not be omnipresent. Okay. You have to select the right platform for yourself. आपको समझना पड़ेगा आपका target audience कहाँ है. Say, for example, you are practicing CA and you are helping startups more. So if you're helping startups, the owners will be young people, right? So they'll be more present on YouTube, they'll be more present on Instagram or Facebook, right? That will be your target platforms. If you are a chartered accountant and you are into job and you want to connect to good professionals in the top management, so LinkedIn is your place. YouTube can be your place. So you have to smartly select the right platform for yourself. Don't be on every platform, but choose the right platform for yourself. Coming to how much time you should invest, what you can do is you need not be active every day. You need not share every day. Twice or thrice a week with good content is more than enough. What I do is every Sunday, I spend like half an hour to 1 hour. I to share every day, but if you don't want to do that, that's completely fine. It will just take half an hour. Prepare 2-3 good posts for the next week so that, work schedule mein you're not interrupted with the thought ki aaj kya share karu. Sit on a Sunday, prepare 2 or 3 posts, good posts, which we want to share to your target audience, value adding post, and choose days. Say every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be sharing post. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for 10 minutes, I go, I share, I interact a bit with, meaningful interactions, and I'm done. That's the amount of time you can spend if you're that busy and you can really can't find time to be digitally active. Okay. Coming from digital, let's go on to step number 4. Online cover किया, तो अब हम cover करेंगे offline. Okay. Building your offline presence. Something, a question that was also asked to Sandhya ma'am. Is your dressing and the way you talk important? I'll ask you. Okay, anybody would like to share any of your experience? Why your dressing and the way you talk is that important? Anybody wants to share? How people remember us? Yes. The way we dress, the way we speak. Dressing shows intent. Very good. Yes. Visual memory of you. Superb, Dolly. Thank you so much. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you behave, your body language, your etiquette, your grooming, everything is a visual representation, a visual memory of who you are. And that's as important as your, a verbal memory. What you speak, that is important, yes, but the way you speak and the way you look is as important. I'll just show you something. Yes. So this is a research which was done that when you are speaking, usme se 55% of the aspect which is influencing of what you're speaking is your body movements, your body language, your dressing. 55% uska impact padta hai. 38% padta hai impact in the way you sound. In the sense, you're sounding angry or you're sounding happy, or the kind of pauses that you're making. Aapka modulation kaisa hai, the verbal aspect, the vocal aspect. and only 7% is the verbal, मतलब आपके words, आप exactly बोल क्या रहे हो उसका effect सिर्फ 7% है. So imagine the kind of impact you're having only through your body movements, your dressing, and the way you're speaking. आप क्या बोल रहे हो उसका impact तो सिर्फ 7%. So why again? See, if somebody is giving you a present, ऐसा पैकिंग आपको नहीं पसंद आएगा, राइट? चाहे अंदर कुछ भी हो, अंदर कुछ भी मिल जाए आपको, आपको ऐसा पैकिंग नहीं अच्छा लगेगा. You will like a packing like this, which is pleasing to the eye. When you go to a shop, you don't like such a shop, right? Ki anything is kept anywhere. You don't like a messy shop. Although you don't own it, it's not your house, anything. Still, you don't like this. You like a neat, clean stack. You know, you would like to buy this. यहाँ से खरीदने का मन नहीं करेगा, because that's the visual representation. Okay, so in your offline presence, there are three major aspects that we cover. First is your outfit, next is your grooming, and then is your etiquette. Now, why your grooming is so important is how we see ourselves. Okay, let's start from here. How we dress and groom ourselves affects how we think, feel, and act. इसके लिए मैं एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ. किसी दिन आप घर से निकल रहे हो, ओके, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मीटिंग है, घर से निकल रहे हो, निकलते निकलते आपने एक कप चाय पिया, वो चाय आपके शर्ट पे गिर गया, ओके, शर्ट ड्रेस जो भी आपने पहना है गिर गया. इट्स ऑन योर स्लीव्स, ऑल्दो इट्स अंदर के पार्ट पे शायद ज्यादा विजिबल भी नहीं होगा, बट गोइंग इनटू दैट मीटिंग सबकॉन्शियसली always you will have this, अरे मेरा शर्ट खराब हो गया, how will I look, what is the kind of impact that I'm giving, what is the kind of this thing I'm giving, right? You will always have this subconscious block in your mind, right? Because your dressing affects the way you feel and you behave, and because of that block you will behave awkwardly, you will not have very good conversations, because आप सारा time you will be hiding, trying to hide that sleeve कि अरे इधर दाग लग, right? And that affects the way how others look at us and others just respond to what you're doing. And when you behave awkwardly, obviously the opposite person will be like, what is the person doing? Why is she behaving such awkwardly, right? And that affects the way we see ourselves. And that will affect the way, give me 1 second. Sorry. So how people respond to us will affect the way we see ourselves, and that in turn will affect the way we dress or groom ourselves. So it's a cycle. If you dress yourself correctly, and like Sandhya ma'am said, it's you feel good when you dress nicely, right? You kisi special occasions may you want to dress well and you feel good, you feel so good about yourself, is because of course your dressing matters. लोग चाहे कितना भी बोल ले, अरे भाई काम मैटर करता है, ड्रेसिंग नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. योर ड्रेसिंग डज मैटर. ऑफ कोर्स योर वर्क आल्सो मैटर्स, योर ड्रेसिंग आल्सो मैटर्स. बोथ हैव देयर ईच रोल टू प्ले. सो किसी को भी आप आइसोलेशन में रख के काम नहीं कर सकते. ओके, सो आपका काम भी मैटर करता है, आपका ड्रेसिंग भी मैटर. So when you talk about steps to create your offline presence, the first is ask yourself, are you dressed as per your role always, and does your dressing represents your goal? Because I always say dress the way you want to be addressed, which means आज आप जिस पोजीशन पे हो आप उससे कहीं आगे बढ़ना चाहते हो, राइट? you don't want to be in the same position always, you want to move one step ahead, so start dressing that way. आज अगर आप एग्जाम्पल, आज अगर आप मैनेजर हो, आप सीनियर मैनेजर बनना चाहते हो, start dressing like a senior manager. You will feel that you are in the path to progress. आज अगर आप समझो आपके पास you have 10 clients and you want like 100 clients, start dressing that way. Start dressing that influential. You will start feeling that importance. Okay, dress the way you want to be addressed. So us cheez ke liye, the first is to choose the right outfit. Choose the right outfit as per your audience, the goal and the occasion. हर outfit हर occasion के लिए नहीं है. Like Sandhya ma'am said, jingy bingy nahi hona chahiye. It should be appropriate, should be professional, and should also be the right. A professional आप हर जगह नहीं पहन सकते. If you're going for a wedding, you can't wear a professional outfit. You have to wear a, the appropriate outfit, be it culturally appropriate, be it whatever kind of appropriation you want. आपको उस तरह से पहन. Always wear classy outfit on, not trendy. What does this mean is, just because, so for example, say a kind of a sleeves. Sorry, boys, this is mainly for women out here. A kind of a sleeves is very in. Say, ruffled sleeves, bahut in hai. It's very trendy. But that you can't wear in an office, right? You have to wear classy outfits. So don't go behind trends just because some celebrities are wearing or it's very trendy. You might look good. Wear classy, it builds a separate brand. Be professional by choosing the fits and the colors. Okay, your fit should be professional, should not be very tight or very loose. It should be the appropriate fit. Colors should be professional, not very, very, say, neon colors or very bright colors or very dull colors. Don't wear them. Wear professional colors when you are choosing outfits. Okay, don't mix more than 2 or 3 colors in your outfits. That is also one of the professional way to choosing colors, and this especially goes for women. Okay, because we are spoiled with choices of colors. लड़कों के पास तो बेचारों के पास कुछ ज्यादा choices ही नहीं होता है. Black, blue, white, gray में घूमते उन लोग. But I would again add for men, don't restrict yourself with these 4 colors. There are many colors that you can experiment in, even in your professional outfits. So start experimenting with colors. Men out there, start experimenting with professional colors. बहुत colors मिलेंगे. Dress as per your comfort with the audience in mind. Okay, this is very important. You should be comfortable in what you're wearing. Like we discussed before, you don't want to look awkward. Also keep your audience in mind. Say, for example, you are going on a stage to give a presentation and you have like 1,000 people sitting there. Your audience, your role is an influential role. So आप उस हिसाब से dress करोगे. Say you are going to make a presentation, but in a closed room where say 10 CEOs are sitting. So your role is it's a professional role where you, of course, you have to influence, but it's more of convincing, more of making an impact, right? So up professionally, up वैसा dress choose. So your audience, your situation, all matters a lot. Okay. Next, we come to grooming. Please be groomed professionally, be it the way you keep your hair, the way you accessorize yourself. Please, ज़्यादा accessories मत पहनिए. Men, please either have a clean shave or have a well-trimmed beard. Okay. Stubble, वो सब नहीं अच्छा लगता है. The way you wear your shoes, the way you wear your socks, everything matters. Okay, in your grooming. The way you smell, the way what you eat, everything matters. Third is the etiquette. Follow the right etiquette, which means the way you shake hand, the way you introduce yourself, the way you listen to people, the way you sit, the way you eat your food. Everything comes in etiquette and everything is building a brand for you. Okay, तो ऐसे मत समझिए कोई आपको देख नहीं रहा है, जिस तरह से आप खा रहे हो, जिस तरह से आप किसी और से बात कर रहे हो. Everything is building a brand for you. Okay, last step, what we talk about today is building your authority. Now, some people here might feel either you are too young or too experienced to build your authority. But ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. The right time is now to start building your authority or to actually showcase your authority. So like, starting में few people had said कि अपना profession बताना या दिखाना वो थोड़ा difficult हो जाता है, be it for many reasons. First, आता नहीं है. Second, you are doubtful कि whether it's allowed or not as a CA. Third, you don't know the ethical manners to do that. Fourth, you don't know what exactly to talk about. Now, building authority means letting people know what you are good at. Okay, let me give you my example. So what happened is I was not into this profession like from the start. I was with my family business. I used to work a bit in, the valuations part and the project financing part for some bit. So when I started with this profession of personal branding, it was very difficult for me because, एक branding पहले से था कि ये तो CA है. So people used to be very confused कि यार CA है, ये क्या कर रही है फिर? But that's when you start building your authority. That's when you start building your brand. And how do you do that is in every of your conversation, it should reflect your branding. In every of the posts that you make, it should reflect your branding. In the way you dress, the way you talk, everything should reflect your branding. And धीरे धीरे वो मेरा branding पूरा बदल गया. And now people know that I'm a CA, but first they refer to me as a personal branding coach and then they refer to me as a CA. That's the switch that I consciously made in my authority, in what I am an expert in. That you have to also do. Start creating, showcasing, and building your authority. Okay. So you might already be an authority in some aspect. If you're a very experienced person, आप already expert होंगे, आप already authority होंगे. What you now need to do now is to showcase your authority. Okay. So few questions. Does your target audience know what you are best at? Does your friends and family and even your neighbors, people, relatives know what you're best at? Because people generally don't. उनको पता होगा आप CA हो, ठीक है. But CA में क्या? What is your specialty? Why are you an authority? नहीं पता. And this is what happens. Say for example, कोई मेरे पास आएगा बोलेगा कि अरे किसी CA का नंबर देना अच्छे practice CA का. I'll have like 100 people in my contact list जो CA practice हो. But if you are an authority, if you have some speciality, if you are known for something, ऐसे instantly आपका नाम reflect होगा मेरे दिमाग में, and that's brand building and that's authority. If you break your leg, whom do you visit? Orthopedic, right? If you have heart attack, whom do you go to? Cardiologist, right? आप general physician के पास नहीं जाते हो. You go to a specialist. And that's the difference between a generalist and a specialist. Generalist, specialists are authority in their area of practice. They are experts and that is why they charge more. So you have to decide आपको generalist बनना है कि specialist बनना है. You want to be called an authority in a particular area or a generalist. Okay, because this is something I really see a lot of CA struggle. They call themselves as a generalist. कि हाँ हम तो सब काम करते हैं, हम टैक्स भी करते हैं, ऑडिट भी करते हैं, GST भी करते हैं. So उसमें क्या होता है? You're not a specialist. You don't refer yourself as a specialist and you just become a generalist. Okay, nothing right or wrong. It is about the perspective. Now, different ways of establishing and showcasing your authority, something that you can do. Choose one thing that you are comfortable in. And I think Murtaza sir had mentioned, you can do any of these things. And even Sandhya ma'am had mentioned, different ways of establishing and showcasing your authority. You can either write a book. Today, it's not very difficult to write a book. Okay. You can start taking seminars or webinars. If you're comfortable with that, start taking seminars and webinars. It'll, make a name for you that you are an expert in a domain. Start blogging, start writing. If आपको forefront में नहीं आना, start writing. It's not, I'm not saying writing is very easy, but it's not as difficult as it sounds. Okay, start blogging. अगर ब्लॉगिंग भी नहीं होता, उतना लेवल का राइटिंग भी नहीं करना, सोशल मीडिया पे एक्टिव हो जाओ. सोशल मीडिया पे शेयर सम गुड थॉट्स, सम गुड पोस्ट, और यू कैन स्टार्ट गिविंग स्पीचेस. These are the few ways in which you can start establishing yourself and showcasing yourself as an authority. So few people are asked कि कैसे करना है. Choose any one of these things to start developing and showcasing yourself as an expert in an area. Okay, so quickly, it's काफी लोगों को लगता है कि अरे पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग बहुत ही ऊपरा ऊपरी चीज है, या तो फिर कैसे करना है. ठीक है, चलो ये सब कॉन्सेप्ट समझ लिया, बट एक्चुअली कैसे अप्लाई होता है एंड हाउ डज इट रियली चेंज द वे यू वर्क. आई फटाफट से शो अ केस दैट आई हैव पर्सनली वर्कड ऑन. ओके, सो we developed a personal branding for a CA, lived in a 2-tier city, very knowledgeable young personality, in his late 20s, dynamic. What previously, like everybody, he used to refer to himself as, I am into tax returns, I do audit, internal audit, funding, everything. But what we did is we established a UBP, a niche service for him, and he started referring himself as a MSME subsidy consultation valuation expert. ठीक है, बाकी काम of course वो करता था, but his niche was this. That's the branding we developed for him. Okay. Then we, came up to the branding aspects that he wanted himself to refer as. He wanted to be called as trustworthy, knowledgeable, networker, and resourceful. Okay. His target social media that we chose were LinkedIn, Facebook. Content किस तरह का share करता था was awareness, because people don't know about MSME subsidy availability and कैसे करते हैं, क्या करते हैं, क्यों करते हैं. So awareness, valuation को simplify किया, and he spoke about entrepreneurship. Communication, he started understanding that the way he speaks and what he speaks really matters. So easy communication language, he started keeping updated with the current affairs, knowledgeable conversations rakhna. How did he build his authority? Is he started networking, plus social media pe acha connections banaye. Lectures, he started giving lectures on these topics at various management institutes. Study circle mein connect karna, ICAI. He also developed booklets. Okay, that's the authority that he started building. We also worked on the grooming. Because his target audience was such, he had to be dressed semi-casually, but in a smarter casuals, jo bolte na, smart casuals. So we started developing his grooming in such a way. So everything matters, from the way people look at you, the way you talk about yourself, the way you present on digital platforms, the way you dress, everything bundled together forms your personal branding. So case 2, today what we'll do is quickly, you are, as a CA, what kind of branding will you make? So covering what we already covered, the 5 steps, quickly, I want you to think on these lines. First, your strong introduction, we already developed that. If you haven't, please click this picture and work on this activity today. Okay. Your strong introduction. Second, how will you network effectively? Third, how will you build a strong online presence? Specifically, now you are the case, okay? You as a chartered accountant, how will you develop your online presence? What is your target social media? What is the kind of content you will share? What are the kind of people you'll get connected to on online? Fourth, how will you create a memorable offline presence? So that includes the kind of dressing you want to portray, the kind of body language you want to have, the kind of etiquette you want to show, everything. Okay, how will you create that offline presence? And fifth, how will you establish yourself as an authority? And this in total will help you start building your brand. I want to touch upon one more thing that, even Sandhya ma'am was asked, and I feel very important aspect is how much time you should invest in, all these activities. So like Sandhya ma'am said, personal branding has to be an authentic you. It has to be you. You can't fake it. Okay. आप जो नहीं हो वो नहीं दिखा सकते. So technically, it should be a regular thing. It should be inside you, your branding. So technically, आपको time invest नहीं करना है. It should be your habit. The way you introduce yourself has to be your habit. The way you dress has to be your habit. The way you go and talk to people has to be your habit. The way you connect online, the way you post online has to be your habit. Everything boils down to your habit. And once it becomes your habit, आपको, trust me, extra efforts डालने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. Because that is you. आपको क्या करना है? आप कौन हो? Your authentic you. You have to find that. Match that with what is your goal. आपको कहाँ पहुंचना है? और उस साथ में लाके is something that will build your brand, and that is the image that you want to portray for others. So any specific query or question that anybody has for me? There were a couple of them. Let me just cater to that. So somebody had asked.
If anyone wants, they can also put it in chat box.
So somebody had asked how to deal with brand building vis-a-vis professional misconduct. So I think this is one of the biggest doubts, plus a biggest hesitance chartered accountants have when they are branding themselves. They think it will lead to professional misconduct. So yes, we are bound by, and we have a code of ethics to follow when you are branding yourself, when you are talking about yourself or your work. You have to be very careful as to not mentioning your clients, not going into a lot of details, or not compromising on the confidentiality. You have to maintain the integrity. But like I said, branding is you. Branding is not only about talking, किसी ने जैसे बोला था कि मुंह मियां मिट्ठू नहीं बन जाए. That is just talking about your आपने क्या क्या अचीव किया. You don't have to talk about that. That is not branding. Branding is presenting yourself in a particular manner. In your polished version, जब आप अपने आप को दिखाते हो, that is branding. ठीक है? So it is not a professional misconduct if you follow the rules, if you be within that ambit of code of ethics, and you are well presented offline and online. It will not lead to professional misconduct. So if you follow the rules and जो हमने steps discuss किया, आप उनके अंदर आप काम करोगे, तो of course you can work on your client.
And I think branding is, I think you should do more about you. It should not be like more about your firm or your other professional services. So when we are talking about brand building or image building, it should be for ourselves. Who am I as a CA Shweta Jain or Shweta, more importantly. So if I'm able to create my own brand, people will come automatically to me by asking that what you do, Shweta, what is your profile, or something like that. So I don't think so to branding yourself, it comes under any misconduct or code of ethics. This is my personal submission.
Thank you so much for adding that, ma'am. Yes, it is about talking about you and not your exactly your work or your firm. You don't need to do that to brand yourself.
I think any more questions if we have, so we can take it. Otherwise, we can close it for the day.
I think what I would like to add here is that when you are saying that about talking about achievements, what I feel is that we need to talk and brand ourselves maybe as in the thing that we can do knowledge sharing rather than saying that, okay, I have achieved this, I have achieved that, or so, that might amount to solicitation, but uh, knowledge sharing and in general may not. So that way we can associate ourselves with a particular topic or something like that maybe.
Yeah, so if someone says as that Ruta is expert in some so and so area, so of course this is not a solicitation of work, but it can create a brand for Ruta.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is why that recommendation section and it's very important in LinkedIn.
Yeah. Correct.
Can we close the session now?
Yeah, so I would request you, Ruta, please go for the formal vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you first, Parinita, for being and sharing with us up very practically that what is possible and what is not possible. What I would like, I have read somewhere that branding is something what people remember you when you are not in the room. So that kind of association is there. So that is, I think, branding, personal branding for me. Uh, I also like the fact that you explained stepwise that how a brand can be built and the nuances of networking as well. I would like to close it with sharing one small thought related to how about social media. The part is that how we can go about it, and what I have done is, and a good experience as that please answer all the queries that are about your own subject. Wherever you find, please go on answering them. So that way people will associate you with one particular subject. And that would, I think, help people in creating a professional brand. Right. So thank you so much for all your wonderful tips. And I'm sure that the participants here would definitely benefit from your tips. And we will see more brands coming up soon. So
I
thank you
hope
very
so,
much.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us
Thank you,
today.
Parinita. Thank
Thank you,
you.
participants, for joining. And we will soon see you all again next month, one of the Wednesdays.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Thank
with
you.
some new topic.